Coming up, authorities start the investigation into a body found in rural Jasper County.
Plus, thunderstorms are finally here in the 4 states. We'll take a look at all of them in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Carthage School District regroups after its bond fails to pass during Tuesday's elections.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. You know, we voted for rain on Election Day.
And it's finally here.
We all washed our cars, I think, and look at what happened when we did that. If only that was how it actually truly worked, though. But I mean, look at all of that rain out there. We've got showers and thunderstorms popping up everywhere. There's a nice, decent cell right over the city of Joplin. We've got another, zoom in here, we got another little batch of storms across Bourbon County moving into Crawford. We've got more development taking place. When I first got here, this radar was pretty empty, especially on the southeast Kansas side, and now it's definitely going. And there's a fair amount of lightning with some of these storms as well out there. The good news is nothing strong or severe in our immediate area, but just look at the development, and it just keeps coming. I can't get enough of how busy the Skywatch Storm Tracker is this morning. We also have heat advisories. Unfortunately, they continue for some of us in southeast Kansas until Friday at 8. And then yesterday, as Doug was telling you, we had a severe thunderstorm move through Bourbon County and into Vernon County. And there was actually a couple of damage reports on that, which we can take a quick look at. This one specifically says that there were a couple of trees down the crossroads in the city of Fort Scott. And then this one here estimates the winds at about 65 miles an hour and down some tree limbs out there. The good news is, so far, nothing quite like that right now. Now, I'm hoping might catch a quick flash of lightning because there's been a lot of electricity with these storms this morning. And these storms have been developing very quickly. Okay, it's not going to do it for us right now, but that's all right. It is 83, though. It's still pretty warm in Joplin. Despite the heavy rain, it feels like 87. Check out that dew point and humidity. They are up there. And temperatures across the area, you can see where the rain's been lingering in the morning, say Fort Scott, Nevada, Stockton, where it's considerably cooler, and the rain just getting underway in the places where it's still in the 80s. And we have heat indexes still for those that are just now getting into the rain, but the good news is it's going to help. It's a good helping of rain. Like I said, the drought situation is pretty extreme. It's not going to knock it down, but this rain is definitely going to be beneficial. We'll take a look at more of the storms and what's going on and how long they'll stick around here in a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. We needed the rain.
We certainly did, and it is finally here.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Jasper County Sheriff's Department is investigating after a body is found in a vehicle in a rural part of the county. Authorities say the body was found around 3 Wednesday afternoon near Civil War and Pine Road at a long abandoned farmhouse in Carytown. Detectives say a vehicle was found behind the farmhouse with the body inside, believed to be that of a missing Alba woman, Michelle Stone. Authorities do not suspect foul play at this time, but the investigation is ongoing. Authorities in Pittsburgh charge a man for firing a gun near a house with children in it and damaging property. Police say around 3 Wednesday morning they responded to a domestic incident. When they arrived, they found 39-year-old Corbin Murray in the backyard of the home with a shotgun and a rifle pointed in the direction of an officer. Police were able to knock the weapons out of his hands and arrest him. Authorities say before that, Murray hit a woman in the home and damaged property while children were inside. Murray is charged with domestic battery, aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer, and 5 counts of aggravated endangering a child. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri investigate after a vehicle flees the scene after rear-ending a motorcycle, injuring its rider. The crash happened shortly before 10 p.m. Monday along I-49 Gateway Drive. Authorities say 52-year-old Bradley Pippin was riding his motorcycle north near the Gateway exit when he was hit. Pippin was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. And a Montgomery County, Kansas road was closed Wednesday morning after a train collided with a tractor trailer. It happened on South Walnut near Coffeyville. Authorities say no one was injured in the crash. The Carthage School District regroups after the failure of a bond proposal for a new performing arts center in Tuesday's elections. The current auditorium is more than 40 years old. Although a majority of voters supported the plan, it failed to get the 4/7 majority needed for passage. Still, the superintendent of schools believes the new performing arts center is still beneficial for the school and community.
And it would have been a great opportunity to bring in new events to the Carthage community. Hopefully, we'll continue the process of getting this passed later on.
The next time the bond could be put on a ballot is April 2023. We might have seen more scooters on the streets of Carthage recently. The Carthage Parks and Rec Department is holding a trial period with Lime scooters to see if the scooters can be a form of transportation rather than just leisure. The only public transportation in Carthage is a taxi service working out of the sheriff's office. After the trial period, the department will analyze if the Lime scooters help with public transportation within Carthage.
Yeah, I mean, our hope is that maybe there's people out there who want to take that drive from their house to their place of employment and make it a little more convenient for them.
The trial period ends August 21st. Freeman Advantage Free Health and Resource Fair returns. Freeman Advantage invites area residents to travel the world of healthcare without leaving Joplin. This event features health screenings, informative presentations, and interactive booths. Visitors received a passport upon entry and then collected stamps from the various vendors or by participating in activities, which then qualified them for door prizes.
We had a morning full of presentations on topics that are valuable to people 50 and over.
If you want to learn more about Freeman Advantage, you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Joplin's Ronald McDonald House is getting a big check from a longtime supporter. Fletcher Hyundai gave $10,000 at the grand opening of Fletcher's newly remodeled facility on East 32nd Street.
Be part of the community because the community is what keeps us in business, and we were able to share a lot with Joplin when the tornado happened, and we felt like we were part of this community even though we don't live here.
Presentation took place at the grand opening of Fletcher's newly remodeled facility on East 32nd Street.
If you're hitting the roads this morning, obviously some heavy rain to look out for, and rain will stick around through the first half of the morning before they clear out. Same situation if you're in southeast Kansas. You're going to have to watch out for some of those thunderstorms and heavy rain. And I mean, take a look at these thunderstorms. They are everywhere, and they continue to pop up. In fact, a lot of this activity has developed just within the last, say 30, 45 minutes, and it will continue to push through the morning and bring us some much needed rainfall.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Royals take on the White Sox in their final game. We're going to find out who struck out.
Plus, Kansas voted to keep access to abortion in the state. We'll have the latest.
And we'll have why some lab techs do not want to test monkeypox. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, the Pittsburgh American Legion baseball team is back in the Mid-South Regional Tournament for the second straight year. Post 64 opens the tournament yesterday afternoon in Birmingham, facing the Tupelo 49ers out of Mississippi. It's a tough tournament opener with the 49ers coming into the day with a 32-1 record. Pittsburgh falls in a good one, 5-2. Cameron Williamson gets an RBI single. Post 64 will try to stay alive in the regional tournament this afternoon at 1. The Kansas City Royals finish up their 3-game series with the Chicago White Sox yesterday afternoon. The two teams have split the first 2 games of the series after the Sox took Game 2, 9-2. Yesterday's game is the final road game for Kansas City before an 11-game homestand begins tonight. Chicago goes up here on the RBI single. Royals down 1-0. Lance Lynn dealing for the White Sox all day long. Michael Taylor goes down looking. Next batter, Nick Pratto swinging. Lance Lynn, 6 innings today, gives up just 4 hits and 1 run while striking out 8. Had a little rain delay, but they would end up finishing the game in the third. Jose Abreu, with 2 runners on, takes this one up and out off Brady Singer. 3-run jack, his 14th. White Sox controlled this one, going on to win 4-1. In the National League last night, Game 2 of a rivalry series between the Cubs and the Cardinals. They were supposed to play, but weather gets in the way. Instead, they'll play a doubleheader tonight with Game 1 beginning at 12:15. Well, Kansas City Chiefs are in week 2 of practice at training camp in St. Joe. Third-year linebacker Willie Gay picked up an interception off Patrick Mahomes in practice yesterday morning. He talked after practice about getting that pick and his high expectations for his third year in the NFL.
Give me a lot of confidence. You know, I got goals to lead linebackers in the NFL and interceptions this year. So when Pat throws me some, I know the other quarterbacks will because they're not as good as him. So coming out of college, man, I was a guy I feel like was drafted because of my coverage ability. And, man, like, I feel like I dropped 4 of them last year. You know, if I make those opportunities and, you know, make the play, that's like 5-6 interceptions last year. So this year, man, I really can take it to the next level. I know that for a fact, so I'm definitely going to do that.
Finally, former Pitt State cornerback Devontae Bowsby has a new home in the NFL, signing today with the Washington Commanders. Bowsby just finished up this season in the USFL with the New Jersey Generals, but he's no stranger to the NFL. You can see here, these are the teams he's played for since entering the league in 2015. In his one season in the USFL this year, he had 17 tackles and 1 interception. He's also a Super Bowl champ, winning Super Bowl 52 with the Eagles. Well, fans are remembering longtime Dodgers broadcaster Vin Scully. Scully, who spent 67 years as the team's announcer, died at his home in Los Angeles at the age of 94. Lee Cowan looks back at Vin Scully's life, work, and his deep connection to the sport he loved.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
You didn't have to watch a baseball game as long as Vin Scully was announcing.
Fernando Valenzuela has pitched a no-hitter.
His words could paint a portrait as bright as the outfield.
What a marvelous moment for the country and the world. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South.
Vin Scully wasn't only the voice of baseball, he was the heart of it too.
In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
I have no idea where that came from. And that's the fun of it, if you get a good one off once in a while.
He got more than a few good ones off ever since starting with the Dodgers back in 1950, when they were still the Brooklyn Dodgers.
It's been a sport that I've loved ever since I could throw a ball.
For Vin, as his fans called him, announcing wasn't just about plays and statistics. It was about the simple beauty of America's pastime.
When you sit here and look out at 7, 8 o'clock sunset time, and you can see the mountains, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
In his last interview with us a few years after he retired, Vin Scully reflected on a career that had lasted nearly 70 years. And he did what he always did. He put the impossible into perfect perspective.
Even if I live to be 100, that's only a couple of years from now. Where I am is where I belong, quiet, peaceful, and at home, far from the madding crowd.
Oh, unbelievable.
Lee Cowan, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Certainly an impressive career. Still to come, 6 people injured and 3 dead in China after a tragic stabbing at a kindergarten school. Plus, a check of that forecast when we come back. All right, so thunderstorms are how we are starting our day today. I mean, take a look at the Skywatch storm tracker. There are showers and thunderstorms all over the place. So why don't we go ahead and take a quick little tour of some of these storms. We've got a decent cell that popped up on Joplin not long ago, and a lot of this activity has developed within about the past hour. When I first got here, Skywatch Storm Tracker was pretty quiet. So we got this storm, decent amount of lightning. There's a decent amount of electricity in general with these storms. We track a little further north around Fort Scott. Another good cell up here, and you can see the lightning strikes all around. Let's go a little further east. I said east. There we go. And take a look at all the lightning up here around Osceola. These storms are doing a pretty good job of being busy and keeping us that way. So we make it kind of obvious how we do our magic tricks around here. So on top of that, though, we've also got heat advisories for portions of southeast Kansas that will run until now Friday at 8 o'clock, unfortunately. And yesterday, we had some severe thunderstorms, actually, in Bourbon and Vernon counties. And we got a couple of little storm reports out of Vernon County, which we can take a quick look at here and tell you exactly what happened. One of these is for a couple of trees that were downed in the city of Fort Scott, so we had that go on. And then just northeast of that, they actually had a confirmed report estimated at about 65 miles an hour with some additional damage that these storms left behind. Quick check outside at 7th and Rangeline. Look at the rainfall. You can see it in the light in our parking lot down there at our Joplin office, and it's coming down pretty good, has been since these storms got going. Still 80 though, feels like 84 with heavy rain, some thunderstorm activity. And you can see now where the rain has really been building in because temperatures are starting to drop pretty quickly. If you haven't had any rain yet, or at least not a lot of it, you're still kind of warm to start the day. And heat index values are starting to drop too, except for, again, say Neodesha, Independence, Chanute, Parsons. You guys are starting to see the rain, but you haven't seen as much as everybody else. So it's still a bit toasty out there. And a quick check as to what to expect as we head through the day. So still going to be a warm one, 95 for an afternoon high. So we have those heat advisories in southeast Kansas. These AM scattered storms will clear out and it will start to heat up. Temperatures dropping off into the 70s again tonight. So make sure you go out there, don't go outside. You can do it from inside your house, but open your windows. It's going to be a pretty pleasant evening with some light winds once this clears out. And you might as well enjoy it while you can because it is going to heat up again right after this. So take advantage of it. Well, Kansas voters overwhelmingly rejected an effort to eliminate the state's abortion protections. 59% of Kansas supported keeping those rights in the state constitution. Reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns is in Olathe with more on the first vote of its kind since the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade.
A resounding victory for abortion rights supporters in a conservative state.
I feel like my state just showed up and boldly told me that they are going to take care of me.
Kansas voters rejected a ballot measure that would have eliminated constitutional protections for abortion in the state. A move that would have allowed the Republican legislature to further restrict or enact a near ban on the procedure.
Is this the end? Can the legislature do anything on this issue?
I think it might be a while before we get another bite at the apple.
It was the first time voters had a direct say on the issue since Roe v. Wade was overturned, and turnout was significantly higher than expected for a primary contest in the state at 47%.
What was at stake was our constitutional rights and our freedom. And so, a coalition of voters across the political spectrum came together today and voted no.
Abortion rights supporters hope the win reverberates beyond Kansas.
And if you can see that the no votes win here, then that would mean that you could have that in any part of the country, no matter how red it is.
So what happens here in Kansas could be a roadmap for other states.
It is a roadmap for how do we make sure that we're asserting, defending and protecting the rights of women to have access to care in any part of the country.
Caitlin Huey-Burns, CBS News, Olathe, Kansas.
This brings us to our something to talk about. Do you think states should have voters decide on abortion rights? It's a yes or no vote. We want to hear from you. Vote KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Do so in the app. Take part in the discussion on Facebook. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is expected to update its COVID-19 guidance. The agency is set to ease quarantine recommendations for unvaccinated people exposed to the virus. Instead of staying home for 5 days, they can go out with a mask and test themselves at least 5 days after exposure. Those with symptoms should continue to isolate. The agency is also planning to de-emphasize 6 feet of social distancing and regular testing in schools. These changes are still being discussed among experts. Some staffers at 2 of the larger U.S. commercial labs are apparently concerned about taking blood samples from potential monkeypox patients. Experts in the infectious disease field say not testing blood samples can slow the efforts to isolate those with the virus and lead to a larger outbreak. As of Tuesday, just over 6,300 monkeypox cases have been confirmed in the U.S., and that's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. LabCorp and Quest say they are in the process of reviewing safety policies and procedures. Well, there are more than 5,800 probable or confirmed cases of monkeypox across the U.S., and it spreads through close contact. With school getting underway, there's concern that monkeypox could spread in classrooms. Mandy Gaither has more on what health experts say should be done now to protect students.
Across the U.S., cases of monkeypox continue to climb, now a concern over the virus in schools.
Monkeypox transmits when people are in close personal contact, and kids in small classrooms, particularly with bad ventilation, as many classrooms are at risk.
The CDC says monkeypox is spread through close personal, often skin-to-skin contact, which includes direct physical touch with rash, scabs, or body fluids from someone infected, through mucus, and by touching objects or fabrics that someone with the virus has used.
There is a risk that this is carried in what's called fomites, which are inanimate objects. Toilet seats, if you want to say that, but basically bedding, sheets, things like that.
Health experts say schools, districts, as well as colleges and universities should plan now on what to do about monkeypox and keep cleanliness a top priority.
Chairs and desks need to be cleaned. I don't see how you're going to prevent kids from touching each other. So that is a big question. I unfortunately don't have an answer.
The CDC says scientists are still studying if the virus can be spread when someone has no symptoms, how often the virus is spread through respiratory droplets, or if a person with monkeypox symptoms might be more likely to spread the virus that way. They're also looking into whether the virus spreads through things like urine or feces.
To prevent yourself from catching monkeypox, avoid close skin-to-skin contact with people who have a rash that looks like monkeypox. Avoid touching objects that a person with monkeypox has used, and wash your hands often with soap and water or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Coming up, authorities start the investigation into a body found in rural Jasper County.
We got showers and thunderstorms all across the area as we start our day. We'll talk more about these storms and how long they'll stick around from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Carthage School District regroups after its bond fails to pass during Tuesday's elections.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:31. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. I like this one. This one was a bunny. Remember I commented on the squirrel yesterday?
The squirrel's still my favorite.
The other day. The squirrel was a good one, but that bunny was nice. There's a lot of wild rabbits in my neighborhood in Joplin. It's kind of crazy.
I would like us to get an image of an owl.
I saw an owl in the road. Not dead. This was not a roadkill owl. He was just sitting in the road. I've never seen one that close before. I'm driving in and he's just sitting off to the side because I saw it in the light. I'm like, what is that? I slowed down. I'm like, it's an owl. He's just hanging out in the street. He didn't fly away or anything when I came up. He just watched me go by like I was an inconvenience to him. So
keeping an eye on you.
Speaking of an inconvenience, while we do need the rain, it is, of course, coming down quite heavily to make the roads a little bit slippery on your way to work this morning. Look at all of this rain, though. The Skywatch Storm Tracker is certainly busy. We've got some heavier storms up to the northeast of Nevada, and look at all this lightning. These storms have been producing a fair amount of that. We've got another one northeast of Fort Scott, one right on Fort Scott. Over by Bronson, we've got some good thunderstorm activity, stretching back up to Madison and Burlington. Got another little cell north of Fredonia, another one north of Independence. We got all these pop-ups. So in southeast Kansas, there's a lot more pop-up activity, whereas in southwest Missouri, it's a little more concentrated activity. And these storms are going to stick with us through the morning, through at least 9 or 10 a.m. Heat advisories in southeast Kansas until Friday at 8. Quick look at 7th and Rangeline. Rain still falling in Joplin with the occasional flash of lightning. 80 degrees, feels like 84. And on the temperature map, you can see who's been getting the most rain so far this morning versus where the rain's just getting underway, where it's considerably warmer in Fredonia, Chanute, and Independence, but their friends in Iola, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh are considerably cooler as they start the day because they've seen a bit more rain. And all of us will get in on this rain activity as it pushes through. And fortunately, it's not a lot, it's not enough to make a big dent in the drought, but as we've been saying, it helps. It helps. The ground needs it. We may actually need to mow our yards in a few days.
Yeah, well, I needed to mow mine after last week's little bit of rain that we got, so
something up there with your lawn then, because I got a couple of patches of green after the last rain. That was it.
It's mainly just the weeds that are growing. The actual grass is not growing.
It's like cockroaches in a nuclear war. They'll survive. The weeds will survive, a drought. That's just how they operate.
That's what happens. Don't let them get out of control.
No, absolutely not, because then they'll be everywhere.
Nobody wants cockroaches.
That or weeds. I thought we were still talking about weeds. But no, you don't want either of those things.
No.
You don't want weeds outside. You don't want cockroaches inside.
Nope. Or outside. All right, thanks, Chris. The Jasper County Sheriff's Department is investigating after a body is found in a vehicle in a rural part of the county. Authorities say the body was found around 3 Wednesday afternoon near Civil War and Pine Road at a long abandoned farmhouse in Carytown. Detectives say a vehicle was found behind the farmhouse with the body inside, believed to be that of a missing Alba woman, Michelle Stone. Authorities do not suspect foul play at this time, but the investigation is ongoing. Authorities in Pittsburgh charge a man for firing a gun near a house with children in it and damaging property. Police say around 3 Wednesday morning they responded to a domestic incident. When they arrived, they found 39-year-old Corbin Murray in the backyard of the home with a shotgun and a rifle pointed in the direction of an officer. Police were able to knock the weapons out of his hands and arrest him. Authorities say before that, Murray hit a woman in the home and damaged property while children were inside. Murray is charged with domestic battery, aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer, and 5 counts of aggravated endangering a child. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri investigate after a vehicle flees the scene after rear-ending a motorcycle, injuring its rider. The crash happened shortly before 10 p.m. Monday along I-49 Gateway Drive. Authorities say 52-year-old Bradley Pippin was riding his motorcycle north near the Gateway exit when he was hit. Pippin was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. A Montgomery County, Kansas road was closed on Wednesday after a train collided with a tractor trailer. It happened on South Walnut near Coffeyville. Authorities say no one was injured in the crash. Evergy Utilities electric substation in Fort Scott, Kansas is struck by lightning on Wednesday, sparking a fire and knocking out power for thousands of customers. Currently, Evergy shows around 2,500 customers without power. The city of Fort Scott has set up Buck Run Community Center as a cooling station for people currently without AC. The Carthage School District regroups after the failure of a bond proposal for a new performing arts center in Tuesday's election. KOAM's Bella Line has more.
The Carthage School District and community has been using an auditorium that is over 40 years old. After yesterday's loss for the proposal in the Missouri primary, the district is still looking for a way to improve the programs.
For many years, the community's discussed having a new performing arts center. Right now we have an auditorium, but we really need more, a classrooms addition to it. So we put it out for the ballot language and it just didn't pass.
This was not a rebuke saying that we don't want to help the kids, but it was a rebuke saying that at this present moment, the uncertainty is there that we don't know what's going to happen with the finances of the country.
The vote was close, but since a 4/7 majority, or 57%, was needed, the district was unsuccessful.
I think if you look at the precinct results, the Carthage 1, 2, 3, and 4 precincts, which is the main central part of the city, all voted for it. But when you look at one of the precincts and then the outlying areas, we have a lot of people that are in the rural communities, and when you look at those precincts, those are the precincts that actually did not support the Performing Arts Center. So Carthage proper as a whole did support it.
The school district is still determined to build a new center despite being denied in their first attempt.
We will continue to look at options regarding Performing Arts Center, maybe some ways that we can get more support, but obviously it's still needed. The no vote didn't change the need for it. We just have to do a better job of getting the word out. Even though it didn't pass, we still appreciate the community support. You can vote no and still support our kids.
The next available time for the bond to be proposed again is April 2023. In Carthage, I'm Bella Line, KOAM News.
You can find out more on the proposal's history on KOAMnewsnow.com. Freeman Advantage Free Health and Resource Fair returns for the first time since 2019 before the pandemic. Freeman hosted its Free Health and Resource Fair themed Passport to Good Health. The event featured health screenings, presentations, and interactive booths. Visitors received a passport and collected stamps from the various vendors, or by participating in activities which then qualified them for door prizes.
It is a medical education and social program for people over 50. So that means a wide variety of activities that go beyond the health fair.
There were also guided mindfulness sessions, fitness assessments, and blood screenings. Well, Joplin's Ronald McDonald House is getting a big check from a longtime supporter. Fletcher Hyundai gave $10,000. Fletcher Auto Group has donated funds to the Ronald McDonald House charities of the 4 states for years, raising more than $120,000 in total.
So when we talk about partnerships like we have with the Fletcher Group and their financial backing and what they do with us, they allow us to keep operating and doing what we do at Ronald McDonald House in the 4 states. So last week, Ronald House turned 24 years old.
Presentation took place at the grand opening of Fletcher's newly remodeled facility on East 32nd Street.
Got showers and thunderstorms to start our day. They'll they will stick with us through about 9-10 o'clock this morning as they move on out. And then once they do, it's going to warm up nicely. We got heat advisories for some of us in southeast Kansas until Friday at 8. And then it's going to be very nice tonight. Clear skies, lows dropping off into the very low 70s, maybe even some upper 60s. So get out there, enjoy it. Open the windows tonight, give the AC a break because it's going to heat up once we head into the weekend and into next week. So take advantage of this while you can.
All right. Well, this morning we are discussing states and abortion rights. Resounding victory for abortion rights supporters in a conservative state. Kansas voters rejected a ballot measure that would have eliminated constitutional protections for abortion in the state, a move that would have allowed the Republican legislature to further restrict or effectively ban the procedure. It was the first time voters had a direct say on the issue since Roe v. Wade was overturned, and turnout was significantly higher than expected for a primary contest in the state, with 47%. This brings us to our Something to Talk About.
Do you think that states should let voters decide on abortion rights? It's a yes or a no. You can vote, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Do so in the app. Take part in discussion on Facebook. And so far, 63% of you feel that states should leave it up to the voters to decide on this. 37% of you say no.
Curious to see if that changes as the morning progresses.
Yeah, these are updated. It updates live, so.
There we go. Be sure to weigh in. Well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. An aspiring soccer star gets a second chance at playing the game.
Plus, the final arguments in Brittany Griner's trial happened yesterday. We'll have those details.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, police in China's Xinjiang province are looking for the attacker who stabbed several people at a kindergarten. At least 3 people have died and 6 others are injured. China has grappled with mass stabbings as access to guns is strictly controlled. Closing arguments are expected Thursday in WNBA star Brittany Griner's drug smuggling trial in Russia. It comes amid concerns that she is being used as a political pawn in the country's war in Ukraine. Griner is accused of trying to smuggle less than 1 gram of cannabis oil in her luggage back in February. Griner, who plays for a Russian team in the WNBA offseason, was arrested at a Moscow airport. She faces up to 10 years in prison. Griner pleaded guilty to drug charges last month. Her lawyers say it was an attempt to take responsibility and receive leniency if she is ultimately convicted and sentenced. U.S. State Department maintains Griner is wrongfully detained. NASA says a piece of space debris reportedly found on a farm in Australia is likely from a SpaceX Dragon capsule. According to local media, at least 3 pieces of the debris were recovered in a mountain range near Australia's southernmost tip. NASA says SpaceX has confirmed it's likely part of the Dragon capsule's trunk, a piece that provided electricity to the main capsule during orbit. It was intentionally discarded as the spacecraft re-entered the Earth's atmosphere last spring. Now, that specific Dragon capsule carried 4 astronauts home from the International Space Station in May of 2021, landing just off the coast of Florida. While discarded pieces of space hardware typically sink in the ocean, some do end up on land. Last year, what's believed to be another piece of a SpaceX rocket washed up on a farm in Washington state. Be cool to find. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Jasper County Sheriff's Department is investigating after a body is found in a vehicle in a rural part of the county. Authorities say the body was found around 3 Wednesday afternoon near Civil War and Pine Road and an abandoned farmhouse in Carytown. Detectives say a vehicle was found behind the farmhouse with the body inside, believed to be that of a missing Alba woman, Michelle Stone. Authorities do not suspect foul play at this time, but the investigation is ongoing. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri investigate after a vehicle flees the scene after rear-ending a motorcycle, injuring its rider. The crash happened shortly before 10 p.m. Monday along I-49 Gateway Drive. Authorities say 52-year-old Bradley Pippin was riding his motorcycle north near the Gateway exit when he was hit. Pippin was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. A Montgomery County, Kansas road was closed Wednesday morning after a train collided with a tractor trailer. It happened on South Walnut near Coffeyville. Authorities say no one was injured in the crash. Authorities in Pittsburgh have charged a man for firing a gun near a house with children in it and damaging property. Police say around 3 Wednesday morning they responded to a domestic incident. When they arrived, they found 39-year-old Corbin Murray in the backyard of the home with a shotgun and a rifle pointed in the direction of an officer. Police were able to knock the weapons out of his hands and arrest him. Authorities say before that, Murray hit a woman in the home and damaged property while children were inside. Murray is charged with domestic battery, aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer, and 5 counts of aggravated endangering a child. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And as you head out the door on your commute, if you're along I-44 or even US 69 in southeast Kansas, heavy rain is going to make the roads a little bit slippery. It'll clear out by mid-morning, and then the roads should be clear because it's going to heat up and dry out. Thunderstorms do start our day across most of the area. Heat advisories for some of us in southeast Kansas until 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Current temperatures, we're starting off mild in places that haven't seen as much rain as the other places that have. Temperatures in Joplin dropping rapidly, though, 75 right now. And you can see where the rain has been all morning long and where it's just getting started across the area. And, of course, because of that, we still have heat index values for some of us in southeast Kansas that haven't seen nearly as much rain as others have. And as we go through the day today, the storms again will clear out by about mid-morning, 9 or 10 o'clock, maybe a lingering storm by noon. Afternoon highs pushing into the mid to potentially upper 90s, hence those heat advisories in southeast Kansas. But tonight should be pretty pleasant. Clear skies, temperatures getting into the lower 70s. So make sure you open the windows. It's going to be a very pleasant evening and a nice light breeze as well. Heading into the future, the storms do make their way on out of here. They just go do their thing. They leave hot conditions behind. And again, another stray storm or two maybe later today, but otherwise dry. We still have a chance, a very slight chance for a storm or two on Friday, but otherwise, again, dry and hot. And a quick look at that 7-day forecast shows us dry and hot, pushing near 100 as we head into the weekend. Maybe some storm chances by the start of next week. That's assuming we can get that in here, and any rain we can get is certainly helpful. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
An aspiring soccer star gets a special gift that will kick his game up a notch.
Shelby Rose has more on this heartwarming story.
What is the biggest limiter right now for you in playing soccer?
Running.
15-year-old Joseph Alvarado had no idea he would be given the gift of running Sunday morning. All thanks to a brand new prosthetic leg.
It felt like Christmas, basically.
Since he was barely a year old, the aspiring soccer star has learned to adapt to life as an amputee, facing limitations in his athletic ability due to not having the right prosthesis.
Just tough because I couldn't run much, fast and a lot. It would be hard to run with the other leg.
It all happened through a grant program funded by a partnership between the Challenged Athletes Foundation and the prosthetic company OSER. The gift, presented by triathlon Paralympian Jamie Brown, who has a similar story.
It's really hard to describe to someone that doesn't wear a prosthetic what the impact is and how it feels, but in the simplest terms, it's like I went from walking uphill my whole life to all of a sudden walking on flat ground, and I didn't realize it until I switched over to the carbon feet.
These specific prosthetics designed for running aren't cheap either, estimated between $30,000 to $40,000. Alvarado's family couldn't be more thankful.
Very, very excited and very grateful for everybody. You know, this is his first time, and he's very, very excited and we are so honored to be here.
And within minutes of getting his new prosthesis, Alvarado hit the ground running.
I already noticed how fast I could go. I just need to practice more with it.
And now he'll have plenty of time to do so out on the soccer field with his teammates.
That's certainly impressive, and that's the thing about prosthetics is they're impressive in general, like how much they've advanced and what you can do with them these days. I mean, my concern, just looking at the ones designed for running, is that round piece in the back or at the bottom would break. But I know at the same time, I mean, they're designed to withstand that. It's just, it's got to be a thing in the back of your mind when you look at it. You go, how does this not break? But I mean, that just goes
I wonder
back
if he's
to how
able
impressed
to
they are.
kick a softer soccer ball with that leg, or if he still needs to use his right leg to kick the soccer ball, or how actually that would feel if you got kicked by that. Because I guess that's why you have shin guards. But
That's exactly. So certainly, I mean, just impressive all around.
soccer's quite the impact sport. So
That it certainly is. It certainly is.
Well, it'd be fun to watch him play.
Absolutely. Well, we got more of the KOA Morning News. Kalia, check your forecast right after this. Some showers and thunderstorms to start our day today, which is something we have desperately needed. And you can see they're pretty widespread, especially on the southwest Missouri side, really getting in on the action. A bit more scattered on the southeast Kansas side, but these will all continue to push off to the south and to the east. Now, despite that, it's going to clear out later today, and so we have heat advisories for all these counties in southeast Kansas until tomorrow at 8 o'clock because it is going to clear out and warm up. You can see there's a little daylight trying to come through as the sun is rising this morning, but that's going to be short-lived because we've got more shower and thunderstorm activity on the way through the morning. Temperature this morning at 5 a.m. was 81 in Joplin. This is the difference the rain has made. 74 is what it's down to, and there's even a heat index. That's gone. Taking a look at temperatures across the region, you can see again where the rain has been all morning long. We've got more of the KOA Morning News, more on the rain and everything you can expect right after this.
Coming up, authorities investigate a hit-and-run incident in Newton County involving the driver of a motorcycle.
Showers, thunderstorms, thunder, lightning, all of it going on this morning. We'll tell you more about these storms in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Carthage rolls out a fleet of Lime scooters for a trial period as a possible use for citywide transportation.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. We have got a little bit of everything out there for everybody this morning because we've got these storms they've built in and they are right on schedule. And it's really neat. I want to show you something too because you want to talk about right on schedule. It's like they were on cue this morning. So early this morning, we had the activity off to our north and east. And then just watch southeast Kansas and see, I don't have a little pointer. I don't have a little arrow icon. I'm sad. But look just east of Pittsburgh and northeast of Joplin. There's an outflow boundary right here. And it comes off of those storms. And as it does, it sets off shower and thunderstorm activity in southwest Missouri. And then we get storms popping in southeast Kansas. And then they just picked up in frequency. They are widely scattered. They are more numerous now than they were to start the day, and they're going to hang out with us for a little while. Despite that, though, see those heat advisories in southeast Kansas? That's because once these storms clear out, it's going to be hot. Quick check of temperatures. 7th and range line, it's quieted down in Joplin for right now, but more storms are on the way. 74. When we started this morning, it was 81. In Joplin. And you can see where the rain's been and where it has not been. And we still have some heat index values from the folks that have not seen that much rain yet. But don't worry, there is rain on the way. And yeah, it's going to be nice, but then temperatures are going to soar into the mid-90s later today. It's why we have the heat advisories. So once these storms clear out, and they should do so about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, the sun will come out very quickly because the clouds will trail right behind these guys. And it's going to heat up very quickly right behind all this. So.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Not looking forward to a heat up, but at least we're going to keep it below 100.
Yeah, we'll be below 100 for today, which is a nice thing. And the other nice thing is so far with these showers and thunderstorms, we have not had any severe weather.
That's good.
And just the way they're kind of set up, they're not really geared for that. The atmosphere is there to keep them going, but it's not really enough to get them into nasty levels. But we'll keep an eye on them just in case. But we should be good.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Chris. Jasper County Sheriff's Department opens an investigation after finding a body in a vehicle in a rural part of the county. Authorities say the body was found around 3 Wednesday afternoon near Civil War and Pine Road at an abandoned farmhouse in Carytown. Detectives say a vehicle was found behind the farmhouse with the body inside, believed to be that of a missing Alba woman, Michelle Stone. Authorities do not suspect foul play at this time, but the investigation is ongoing. A hit-and-run incident on a motorcycle leads to serious injuries and an investigation. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri are investigating after a vehicle flees the scene after rear-ending a motorcycle, injuring its rider. The crash happened shortly before 10 p.m. Monday along I-49 Gateway Drive. Authorities say 52-year-old Bradley Pippin was riding his motorcycle north near the Gateway exit when he was hit. Pippin was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. An Evergy Utilities electric substation in Fort Scott, Kansas is struck by lightning on Wednesday, sparking a fire and knocking out power for thousands of customers. As of 5 a.m., around 500 people still remain without power. Authorities neutralized the fire at around 11 p.m. The city of Fort Scott has set up Buck Run Community Center as a cooling station for those who are currently without AC. The jury begins deliberations in the defamation trial of far-right conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. The host now admits he was wrong for claiming the Sandy Hook shooting was faked. Michael George reports.
Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones spent years telling his millions of followers the Sandy Hook Elementary massacre never took place. Now facing the possibility of $150 million or more in damages, he admits it happened.
It's 100% real, as I said on the radio yesterday, and as I said here yesterday, it's 100% real.
Jones and his media empire are facing a defamation lawsuit brought by the parents of one of the victims, 6-year-old Jesse Lewis. They told the jury about the harassment and threats they've endured because of the lies Jones told.
I can't even describe the last 9.5 years of the living hell that I and others have had to endure because of the negligence and the recklessness of Alex Jones.
On Wednesday, the family's lawyer revealed Jones' attorneys accidentally sent him 2 years' worth of text messages, which he says proves Jones lied to the court.
Mr. Jones, in discovery, you were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath, Mr. Jones, didn't you?
I mean, if I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
Jones claims the false information he spread was unintentional. His company's filed for bankruptcy, and he claims he'll have to shut down if the jury awards more than $2 million in damages. Michael George, CBS News.
Jones has been banned from social media platforms for hate speech and abusive behavior. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, you might have seen more scooters on the streets of Carthage recently. The Carthage Parks and Rec Department is holding a trial period with Lime scooters to see if the scooters can be a form of transportation rather than just for leisure. The only public transportation in Carthage is a taxi service. It's working out of the sheriff's office. After the trial period, the department will analyze if the Lime scooters help with public transportation within Carthage.
Yeah, I mean, our hope is that maybe there's people out there who want to take that drive from their house to their place of employment and make it a little more convenient for them.
Trial period ends August 21st. On this date, back in 1936, American Jesse Owens wins gold in the long jump at the Summer Olympics in Berlin, Germany.
That's something I can't do.
It was the second of 4 gold medals Owens won in Berlin. He firmly dispelled German Führer Adolf Hitler's notion of the superiority of an Aryan master race for all the world to see. Owens would win his 3rd gold medal and set his Olympic record of the Games in the 200 meters the next day.
On August 9th, he followed that up by helping his team set a new world record, 39.8 seconds in the 4x100 meter relay.
That'd be fast.
That would be fast. I'm not that fast. I used to be fast. I'm not that fast anymore.
I think he neutralized the competition.
He did, and the rain is not abrogating our drought situation in the slightest, unfortunately. It helps, but just not enough to abrogate the drought. As we head through the day, though, the rain will clear out about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Afternoon highs pushing about 95, some heat advisories in southeast Kansas. And it'll be nice tonight, though, before we heat up during the weekend. So open your windows. It's going to be pretty pleasant. Lows in the lower 70s, maybe even some upper 60s. So get out there and enjoy it. Stay up late just to enjoy the rain. Call in sick to work tomorrow. We won't do that.
No.
Because we'll be up at 2 a.m. anyway to enjoy the temperatures.
We should not tell people to call in sick.
No, people can do what they want.
You did not hear
They're
it from us.
abrogating their responsibilities. They're neutralizing their work.
They will not get any work done if they call in sick.
That's exactly, okay. I'm sorry, the definition for neutralize is also hilarious.
And if they do it too much, they could neutralize their job. Let's see. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. It's Thursday, then we've got Chef Anthony Fisher from Pittsburgh High School here. Let's see what he's going to make us today.
He'll neutralize your hunger. Plus, the death toll caused by flooding in Kentucky has risen to over 36, and National Weather Service says more heavy rain could be on the way for the region.
And as the number of cases of monkeypox continues to rise across the country, the call grows louder for production of more vaccine. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, Kentucky is still struggling in the aftermath of torrential rains as deadly floodwaters recede. The death toll remains just over 36, while a few people are still missing. Across the country, heat, wildfires, and more flooding are threatening millions of Americans. Michael George has the latest on the nation's extreme weather.
In eastern Kentucky, thousands remain without power, and many don't have access to running water after last week's deadly flooding. A disaster relief organization deployed this mobile laundry unit to give residents some much-needed help.
Sometimes the small things can make a big difference.
People who've lost everything are helping people who've lost everything. It is the most heartwarming thing that I've seen.
As Kentucky mourns the dead and works to return to a sense of normalcy, intense heat in the forecast is the latest challenge.
The heat indices are going to be above 100 degrees in some locations. That's why we have set up cooling centers.
Out west, California's largest wildfire so far this year, the McKinney Fire, has burned tens of thousands of acres along the border with Oregon. Sherry Marchetti-Perot says the fire quickly spread towards her neighborhood and burned down her family home, killing her uncle who was still inside.
If anybody says you get warning to evacuate, you really listen and pay attention to it because it comes so fast.
Firefighters have been struggling to bring the McKinney Fire under control since it broke out Friday. Rain and lower temperatures provided a little help yesterday, but with drier and hotter weather in the forecast, officials say they expect increased fire activity over the next few days. Michael George, CBS News.
4 people have died so far in the McKinney fire. Authorities say the toll could rise. The last 5 years have brought California's largest, most destructive, and deadliest wildfires. Let's look at one of our top national stories today. If you're out on the road commuting, well, the rain may hamper some of that or at least slow it down just a little bit. If you're on I-44 or even on US 69 through southeast Kansas, same travel conditions are expected, but the storms will start to clear out about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and the sun's going to come out and it's going to get hot, so it'll dry those roads up quickly. Quick look at the Skywatch storm tracker. You can see widespread showers and thunderstorms for just about everybody. But because the sun will come out later, we do have heat advisories for some of us in southeast Kansas until Friday at 8 o'clock. 7th and range line. It's calming down a bit in Joplin. A brief break before more storms roll in. Quick check of the temperature. 74 starting the day. We started at 81 early this morning in Joplin. It's come down thanks to the rain. You can see where the rain's been versus where the rain has not been so much. But don't worry, there's more on the way, and we'll talk more about these storms here in just a little bit. You've got more of the KOAM Morning News coming up.
Well, the Crawford County Junior Leaders on Wednesday gave kids a chance to have some fun and compete for prizes at Barnyard Olympics.
KOAM photojournalist Friends Wallace was there.
Put on is the Barnyard Olympics here at the county fair, which is put on for youth who are 18 and under. and it's just a fun time with games and activities to keep youth active and provide a fun activity during the day at the fair. Fake poop toss, there is the pound-a-post, which you would see. There's a hay bale jump, water bucket carry, all different kind of fun things. Makes it very fun and very special to see them learning, working together, building team working skills, things like that, all in a fun environment makes it just a great time.
It's just getting some kids out here, getting them to do some fun activities and really getting everyone together. And this is just a good activity. It puts a little fun in your hot day, and sometimes it'll even cool you off.
Some of those kids were about your size.
I stopped growing at like age 12, so I totally get it.
Oh, Barnyard Olympics is a really fun event, and it's.
Oh, it looks like it.
I always enjoy like watching the different things. You know, when they have the grease pig contest and those kind of things, and the tractor pulls, and it's a lot of fun for the kids.
Yeah, they certainly are. And this event was broken into 4 age divisions from under 6 all the way up to 18 years old.
To make it competitive.
So see, even though I'm the right height, I'm not the right age to participate.
No, just
unfortunately.
a little bit too young.
Just a little bit, but that's all right. Something we're all participating in this morning is rain. Look at all of that on the Skywatch storm tracker. 24 hours ago, it was pretty quiet. There was one lone cell out northeast of Wichita, if I remember correctly, and that was about all we had. All of us are getting in on the rain action here. I put this in my pocket, and that was a mistake because I couldn't get it back out. So take a look, though, at all the rain that we do have across the area, and there you see all the lightning. We do have some thunderstorms built into all of this as well. In fact, we can take a closer look at some of these storms and everything here, if it wants to. Apparently, it says no, you can't. There we go. Now it says yes, you can, because I started to complain. So then it starts to listen. So take a look at the one around Nevada, where it's actually a pretty good amount of rainfall taking place up there and a good amount of lightning. These storms, especially early, were pretty electrical in nature. There's still a fair amount of lightning out there right now. We also have heat advisories for these counties in orange. They run until tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And then we're going to take another quick look because you see those little orange marks right in Bourbon County. We had that severe thunderstorm warning yesterday. We actually got some storm reports out of that, some damage reports, believe it or not. And we can take a look at 2 of them. Now, one in the city of Fort Scott itself was talking about a couple of trees that were downed inside the city limits by a severe wind gust. And then the other one, winds estimated at 65 miles an hour up there, and it downed several tree limbs. So it was pretty nasty. Now, the good news is this morning, we're not dealing with any of that. In fact, right now, Joplin, it's still showering, but getting a little bit of a break from the shower and thunderstorm activity. There's still more on the way as these storms will stick with us. 74. We started at 81 at 5 o'clock in Joplin, so you can see the difference the rain is making. Unfortunately, once it gets out of here, those temperatures right back up again, So the areas that have seen more consistent rain this morning are cooler. The areas that are getting in on the rain are cooling down. And then you've got the areas, say, Independence, Fredonia, Chanute, and then northeast Oklahoma, where I haven't seen a lot of rain yet. It's still pretty hot. And therefore, there's also still heat index values. And you can see, check it out. This patch of shower right here, look at what it's done to the temperatures. But Independence feels like 86, feels like 88 in Neodesha as we start the day. And as we head through the day, again, the storms will clear out of here about 9, 10 o'clock, maybe a lingering shower around noon. Temperatures get back up into the mid-90s, hence the heat advisories. And then as we go into the overnight, the temperatures are going to look absolutely gorgeous. Lower 70s or upper 60s to start our day tomorrow. So open the windows, give your AC a break, and go out there. Maybe just wake up at 2 a.m. like we do and enjoy the pleasant weather because it's not going to last as temperatures will heat up as we head into the weekend and next week, pushing near 100 again. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, New York Senator Kristen Gillibrand is calling on the Biden administration to invoke the Defense Production Act to increase access to the monkeypox vaccine. New data shows the number of new cases is doubling about every week. New York, Illinois, and California have declared states of emergency to help fight the viral outbreak. Michael George reports.
In Los Angeles, people lined up for the monkeypox vaccine as the outbreak continues to grow. So far, there have been more than 6,300 reported cases across 48 states.
They were pretty much like boils.
Johnny Rivera of Connecticut says he got infected from an anonymous hookup.
Before I knew it, I had like 20 various sites within a matter of days.
The CDC says the virus is spread mostly through close, intimate contact.
Generally speaking, it is largely sexually transmitted, and it's also very limited in many ways into who is getting infected. It's a very small group of very highly sexually active gay men generally that are getting infected with this.
On CBS Mornings, infectious disease expert Dr. Michael Osterholm said the virus is primarily transmitted sexually, but not always.
For example, if you do have contaminated bedding or towels, or even physical contact, a parent might have a lesion on their arm touching a child.
New York is one of 3 states, along with California and Illinois, that have declared states of emergency to help fight the outbreak. While the Biden administration is distributing more than 1 million doses of the vaccine, demand is greater than the supply.
We need a lot more vaccines, and we need them fast. That's why this week I sent a letter to President Biden urging him to invoke the Defense Production Act. This will help ramp up the manufacturing of monkeypox vaccines and give manufacturers the resources they need to make these vaccines available to more people at a much more accelerated rate.
Symptoms include a rash and skin lesions, fever, and body aches, but it's rarely fatal and resolves in about 3 weeks or so. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
On Tuesday, President Biden named an official coordinator to lead the federal response to the outbreak. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Showers and thunderstorms to start our day. Now, they're more numerous on the southwest Missouri side and more scattered on the southeast Kansas side, but they are still there. And we do have a nice little cell up by Nevada right now, still generating some lightning. And you can see all these lightning strikes earlier this morning. They were very electrical. We've also got heat advisories for all these counties in southeast Kansas. They run until Friday at 8 p.m. 7th and Range Line, Joplin, cooling down, calming down a little bit. In fact, like I said earlier, we started the day in Joplin at 5 a.m. at 81. Now it's 74. That's the difference the rain can make. And on this temperature map, you can see where there's been a nice shower down here, and you can see where the rain hasn't been and where the rain has been, because it's making quite a bit of a difference. And of course, because of that, heat index values are pretty much non-existent where it's rained, but out here in Independence, Neodesha, Chanute, Parsons, where it hasn't really rained a lot, it's still pretty toasty start to the day. Now, as we go through the day, these showers and thunderstorms will clear out about 9, 10 o'clock, maybe a stray lingering one by noon, and it's going to heat up 95 degrees by 5 o'clock. That's why we have heat advisories. And then tonight, though, it's going to cool down quite nicely into the lower 70s, maybe even some upper 60s. So make sure you enjoy this as much as you can. Give your AC a break, because starting tomorrow, we start pushing highs back close to 100 degrees. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, authorities investigate a hit-and-run incident in Newton County involving the driver of a motorcycle.
Showers and thunderstorms are how we're starting our day. How long will they last? We'll tell you in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Carthage rolls out a fleet of Lime scooters for a trial period as a possible use for citywide transportation.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach.
And I'm Chris Warner. It has been a pleasant start to the day from the sense that we're getting rain we need. I know not everybody likes the rain, but I think right now everybody's pretty much in favor of this rain. I'd say if we took an opinion poll, it'd be a pretty high percentage that are in favor of the rain. And I think the rain's doing a good job. Rain's probably got a good approval rating right now. Take a look at all that rain that we are getting. And showers and thunderstorms continue to develop. In fact, we're starting to pick up a few more lightning strikes with this storm around Barton County. So you can see that they're not severe, which is the good thing. And we're starting to get some lightning with this storm out by Yates Center. Starting to see some good returns just south of Chanute. These storms will continue to develop, and they keep building back over here because, you see, we back this up, and that's where they just keep developing. It's just right over the same spot. And they'll continue to do so through the morning. Now, we do have heat advisories for those counties in orange until tomorrow at 8 o'clock because it is still going to be a hot one. Right now, 7th and Range Line, the roads are wet, but the rain is paused momentarily before more starts to make its way in. 74 is It's where we're at in Joplin right now, and on the temperature map, where it's rained, you're in the 70s. Where it has not rained, you're in the 80s. And so where it has rained, there's no heat index, and where it hasn't rained, there is a heat index. I mean, look at Neodesha, 88 degrees. Now, as we head through the day, the storms will start to clear out by 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and then it's going to get hot. Highs pushing 95, but it'll be a cool night, which is a good thing. And then
That's good.
By tomorrow and into the weekend and next week, highs will start pushing close to 100 again. So enjoy this while you can. Enjoy the rain this morning. Enjoy the cool night tonight, because it's going to heat right back up after this system moves through.
Definitely. All right. Thank you, Chris. Well, authorities in Pittsburgh charge a man for firing a gun near a house with children in it and damaging property. Police say around 3 Wednesday morning, they responded to a domestic incident. When they arrived, they found 39-year-old Corbin Murray in the backyard of the home with a shotgun and rifle pointed in the direction of an officer. Police were able to knock the weapons out of his hands and arrest him. Authorities say before that, Murray hit a woman in the home and damaged property while children were inside. Murray is charged with domestic battery, aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer, and 5 counts of aggravated endangering a child. A hit-and-run incident on a motorcycle leads to serious injuries and an investigation. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri are investigating after a vehicle flees the scene after rear-ending a motorcycle, injuring its rider. The crash happened shortly before 10 p.m. Monday along I-49 Gateway Drive. Authorities say 52-year-old Bradley Pippin was riding his motorcycle north near the Gateway exit when he was hit. Pippin was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Jasper County Sheriff's Department opens an investigation after finding a body in a vehicle in a rural part of the county. Authorities say the body was found around 3 Wednesday afternoon near Civil War and Pine Road at a long abandoned farmhouse in Carytown. Detectives say a vehicle was found behind the farmhouse with the body inside, believed to be that of a missing Alba woman, Michelle Stone. Authorities do not suspect foul play at this time, but the investigation is ongoing. Residents in Miami, Oklahoma need to keep an eye on their bicycles after police have seen a rash of thefts. KOAM's Yana Hatula spoke with the police and a resident and has more.
Residents of Miami, Oklahoma are mentioning they have had their bikes stolen, or they have at least heard about it happening. The Miami Police Department receives about 100 bikes a year that are turned in as found property. According to Police Chief Thomas Anderson, thieves may steal bikes and use them to be quieter.
You can get away, there's no lights on them, and you can cut through houses, you can cut through parks, property, where a car is a lot more noticeable.
Anderson says some people see an unlocked bike and decide to take it for a ride around the town.
The most common is just convenient, and they ride them, joyride, just more of a nuisance crime.
He says they help the people the best they can, but one of the biggest problems is that a lot of the bikes look the same. That's why it is important to have some kind of recognizable mark on the bike or have the serial number of the bicycle written down.
It's hard to positively identify your bike, so when you buy one, if you'll write down that serial number, and then if it gets stolen, give us a call. A lot of people don't report stolen bikes because they don't think they'll ever see them again, not that big a deal.
A resident of Miami, Janie King, has had 7 bikes stolen during the last 13 years.
This year alone, he's had 3 bikes stolen, and we bought him a new one yesterday.
She likes to go for rides with the neighborhood children, but not even garage doors can stop the thieves from stealing her bikes. She plans to go check the serial numbers from the bikes with the police.
Yeah, we're always going to do that tomorrow. We never have done it.
In Miami, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
The police department has a public sale for the unclaimed bikes once a year. The money goes to the general funds for the city. We might have seen more scooters on the streets of Carthage recently. The Carthage Parks and Rec Department is holding a trial period with Lime scooters to see if the scooters can be a form of transportation rather than just leisure. The only public transportation in Carthage is a taxi service that's working out of the sheriff's office. After the trial period, the department will analyze whether the Lime scooters help with public transportation in Carthage.
To open up the city and see if that transportation component would be successful. And so far, I would say it has. Our ride counts have gone up just since it started last Thursday.
The trial period ends August 21st. On this date in 2012, Oscar Pistorius of South Africa becomes the first amputee to compete at the Olympics by running in an opening heat of the men's 400 meter. Known as the Blade Runner, due to his use of prosthetic blades instead of legs, Pistorius began his history-making appearance at the Olympics on August 4th, 2012, by taking second place in his 5-man preliminary heat in the 400 meter with a time of 45.44 seconds. At the semifinals the next day, Pistorius finished in last place with a time of 46.54 seconds, failed to advance to the finals. Now, fame quickly turned to infamy for Pistorius, however, when on February 14th, 2013, he was arrested for the murder of his girlfriend. He was later found guilty of culpable homicide. In October 2014, the 27-year-old former Olympian was sentenced to 5 years in prison.
We talk about a sad end to what started off as a pretty great career for him.
Yeah, That's too bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have rain, and that is great news. Now, as we go through the day, it's going to clear out. It's going to warm up and do so rapidly behind the system. You see highs pushing into the mid-90s. Maybe some isolated scattered showers here and there through tonight and into tomorrow, but otherwise we're going to stay dry and we're going to stay hot. Quick check of that 7-day forecast shows after we have, mid-90s today, the cool temperatures today, we're going to be pushing near 100 again as we head into Friday and the start of next week.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, controversy meets competition as players on the LIV Golf Tour now want to sue the PGA for antitrust law violations. We've got the details.
Plus, Kansas becomes the latest battleground state in the fight over abortion rights. Do you think voters should determine abortion rights for a state? We'll let you weigh in. We'll be right back.
In Consumer Watch this morning, AAA says gasoline prices have fallen 50 days in a row after recently hitting an all-time high above $5 a gallon for regular. But the downtrend could face a number of challenges, including a decision by OPEC and its oil-producing allies to increase production in September by a slower pace than in previous months. In July, President Biden visited Saudi Arabia, which heads OPEC, hoping to improve relations and encourage more oil production. Pro golfer Phil Mickelson and 10 other players who joined the Saudi-backed LIV Tour are suing the PGA Tour. They claim the league broke antitrust laws by suspending them from tour events for playing on the rival circuit. 3 of those players are also seeking a judge's order that would allow them to play in the tour's upcoming playoffs. PGA said it plans to fight the lawsuit. Walmart remains the world's largest company based on revenue. Fortune magazine's annual survey finds the Arkansas-based retail giant tops the Fortune Global 500 list for the 9th year in a row and for the 17th time since it began ranking companies in size in 1995. The Saudi Aramco oil company reclaimed its title as the world's most profitable company, with $105 billion in earnings. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Chris for our Something to Talk About.
This morning, we're discussing states and abortion rights. A resounding victory for abortion rights supporters in a conservative state. Kansas voters rejected a ballot measure that would have eliminated constitutional protections for abortion in the state, a move that would have allowed the state's Republican legislature to further restrict or effectively ban the procedure. It was the first time voters had a direct say on the issue since Roe v. Wade was overturned. Turnout was significantly higher than expected for a primary contest in the state, with 47% of voters coming out. This brings us to our Something to Talk About. Do you think that states should have voters decide on abortion rights? Of course, you can vote yes or no. 57% of you say yes, 43% of you say no. You can vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Do so in the app, and of course, take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. It's time to celebrate your happy birthday when we come back, and of course, anniversaries. But first, we're going to check in and find out what's going on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, I'll talk with a couple of former teammates about changing the conversation surrounding cannabis and how they're promoting education and wellness. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Take this time to honor today's four-state hero, David Putnam. David Putnam served in the Army from 1976 to 1979. He was stationed at Fort Leonard Wood as an Army hospital staff nurse with the 1st Lieutenant Army Nurse Corps. A native of Joplin, Missouri, we thank you. Today's 4-State Hero.
It is time to kick off Thursday's birthday and anniversary celebration. And first up on our glorious list is Melina Heckert in Webb City, turning 6 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Melina.
All right, and Audrey Whitney is celebrating birthday number 6 as well today. Audrey is in Pittsburgh.
And we've got Kadian Westhoff in St. Paul. She's turning 8 years old today. A very happy birthday to you.
Randy Wixon celebrating birthday number 39 this year. Great picture there of Randy in Baxter Springs.
And we've got Billy Parrish in Crestline. He's pictured with his wife, Kathy. And she had a birthday on Tuesday. A very happy 65th birthday to you, Billy.
All right, and Donna Zillner turning 68 years old in Chanute. Happy birthday, Donna.
And then we've got this is a grand anniversary right here. Arthur and Bonnie Smith of Chanute celebrating their 60th year of wedded bliss. A very happy anniversary to you, Arthur and Bonnie.
All right, our list goes on. We've got Henry Moss celebrating along with Jeff Bieber in Joplin.
And we've got Richie Clarkson turning 71 in Fort Scott. And this comes from Jerry, your friend for 53 years. That is one heck of a friendship.
All right, and Shirley Peterman in Coffeyville. Happy birthday to you. And we've got one last anniversary on our list out in Columbus. John and Debbie Castle celebrating 49 years together.
All right, what a great list we have this morning. And I know that you're going to tell us how they can get them there.
Yeah, if you've got a birthday or an anniversary, you can submit them to us through our email, KOM birthdays with an S at KOMTV.com, or send them to us at birthdays@KOMnewsnow.com.
And while you're there, well, of course, that's sending an email, but you can go to our website, and when you're visiting our website, sign up for the KOAM News Now Birthday Club. You get some fantastic deals from local vendors. All you have to do is just go to our website and sign up. So make sure you do it today. Speaking of today, here's what we've got coming up. We want you to pack up your rod and reel when KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14. We're boarding a ship for an unusual fishing expedition, fishing garbage out of what's known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. We'll explain when you join us at 7 for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. And we have got ample rainfall across the area right now, showers and thunderstorms. They're more widespread in South. It's a lack of coffee. Usually I have 2 coffees. I only had 1 coffee. They're more widespread in southwest Missouri and a little more scattered in southeast Kansas, but they are out there. And as you can see, we got some lightning activity, and we're watching them. They keep redeveloping just south of Emporia, and they'll continue to do that and move on through as the morning progresses. They will eventually clear out, and that's why we've got heat advisories for southeast Kansas until 8 o'clock tomorrow night, because it's going to get hot yet again, unfortunately. 7th and Range Line in Joplin. It's cloudy right now. The rain is paused momentarily, but there's more on the way. 74 is where we are at right now with an east breeze at 15 miles an hour. Where the rain has been falling for the morning, it's a little bit cooler. It's in the 70s. Where the rain has not been falling so much, it's in the upper 70s near 80. But as more of us get in on the rain action, things are going to get a little bit better temperature-wise, at least for now. Check out the heat index right now, though, in the Odyssey, 88, 84 in Independence, and 85 in Parsons. So as we head through the day, the majority of these showers and thunderstorms are going to clear out by about 9 or 10 o'clock, maybe a lingering shower around noon. Temperatures get way up there, 95 for today, and 92 by 8 o'clock. That's why we have those heat advisories. And as we head into the night, temperatures are going to drop quite nicely into the lower 70s, maybe even some upper 60s out there. So this is the perfect night to open the windows. It's going to be a pleasant evening with a light breeze. It's a nice opportunity to give that AC a break because we know it's been working really hard. So through the day, again, most of the storm activity clearing out. We may still see an isolated shower or thunderstorm pop up around the area. Most of it's going to stay dry. Most of it's going to get hot. Same situation tomorrow. Maybe a couple of pop-up storms tomorrow, but otherwise hot yet again as we push highs near 100 degrees. And a quick look at the 7-day forecast shows that 96 is as good as it's going to get. That's as cool as it's going to be. And then as we head into Friday and through the weekend and into next week even, highs pushing close to 100. We do have some storm chances we're watching Monday and Tuesday. Hopefully these will increase, but we'll keep an eye on it because we definitely need more rain to help with that drought situation. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Jasper County Sheriff's Department investigates after a body is found in a vehicle in a rural part of the county. Authorities say the body was found around 3 Wednesday afternoon near Civil War and Pine Road at an abandoned farmhouse in Carytown. Detectives say a vehicle was found behind the farmhouse with the body inside, believed to be that of a missing Alba woman, Michelle Stone. Authorities do not suspect foul play at this time, but the investigation is ongoing. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri investigate after a vehicle flees the scene after rear-ending a motorcycle, injuring its rider. The crash happened shortly before 10 p.m. Monday along I-49 Gateway Drive. Authorities say 52-year-old Bradley Pippin was riding his motorcycle north near the Gateway exit when he was hit. Pippin was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. And a Montgomery County, Kansas road was closed Wednesday morning after a train collided with a tractor trailer. It happened on South Walnut near Coffeyville. Authorities say no one was injured in the crash. And authorities in Pittsburgh charge a man for firing a gun near a house with children in it and damaging property. Police say around 3 Wednesday morning they responded to a domestic incident. When they arrived, they found 39-year-old Corbin Murray in the backyard of the home with a shotgun and a rifle pointed in the direction of an officer. Police were able to knock the weapons out of his hands and arrest him. Authorities say before that, Murray had hit a woman in the home and damaged property while children were inside. Murray is charged with domestic battery, aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer, and 5 counts of aggravated endangering a child. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We've got widespread showers and thunderstorms across the area. There's this little donut hole right around Joplin, so it's stopped raining there, but that's going to eventually fill back in because as you look off to the north and west, more showers and thunderstorms. They've kept redeveloping back over here, but they should stop because they're eventually going to clear out. So let's talk about the rest of today. They'll clear out by about 9 or 10 o'clock. We may see some isolated showers or storms through the day, but it's going to be extremely isolated. Otherwise, we're going to get hot, 95 by 5, 92 by 8. Heat advisories in southeast Kansas. And tonight is the last really good night we have. Look at these temperatures drop rapidly into the lower 70s, maybe even some upper 60s. So it's a good night to open those windows. Pleasant evening to just go outside, sit on the porch, and absolutely enjoy because it's not going to last. And we'll take a quick look at the 7-day forecast here. 96 today, 98 tomorrow, 99 on Saturday and Sunday. We're pushing close to 100 through the weekend. That cools off a little bit by the start of next week because we do have some additional possible storm chances we're watching. Hopefully, we'll see those storm chances increase because we need all the rain we can to help with the drought situation because we're in a bad place right now.
All right. Well, coming up today at noon, we are making chicken spare ribs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
That's an interesting one. Your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings next. A grain ship departed from Ukraine for the first time since Russia invaded the country. Coming up on CBS Mornings, how an agreement is aiming to end food insecurity around the globe.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, one young lifeguard recounts an unforgettable story. You're not going to want to miss this one.
Absolutely not. So make sure you tune in on that side. And that's going to wrap it up for us for now here. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning, bright and early at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.